Hello everyone, I'll be talking about a small but important lesson in security fundamentals. How to handle mitigation or remediation of an attack. Typically, there are two approaches, post-exploit and inline. Post-exploit mitigation aims to handle the mitigation once it detects the signature of an attack. The signature could be detected using a set of probes, rules, or traces. The remediation is in the form of either killing the attacker process or deleting the pod or cordoning off the node itself. The primary problem with this mitigation approach is that the attacker is still able to execute its code on the target systems before the code is terminated or cordoned. There is a time difference between detecting the attack and containing it, and during this time, the attacker has free access within the target system. Post-exploit mitigation provides a false sense of security. Once the attacker is allowed to execute its code, the attacker could delete or encrypt the targets before the remediation kicks in. Furthermore, the attacker might turn off the security knobs and access logs such that the attack might go fully unnoticed. Inline mitigation denies execution before the execution of the malicious process begins. This is easier said than done since it requires one to know a priori what is the allowed list. That is, what should be allowed execution in the target environment. Typically, this learning is done using a discovery mode where the target environment allow rules are detected a priori. This essentially is a form of attack surface reduction since the workload is strictly constrained to operate within certain bounds. Reducing the attack surface area is the best strategy where it is possible to be used. Let's take a look at a use case. Hashicorp Vault secures, stores, and tightly controls access to tokens, passwords, certificates, API keys, and other secrets in modern deployments. In this example, Vault is deployed in Kubernetes environment as a stateful set, and it uses two volume outputs, /vault/data and /vault/config to keep all the sensitive data. The data is encrypted at rest. Note that only /bin vault process is the one accessing the sensitive volume mount points and no other binary. The volume mount points are a ransomware attacker's sweet spot since it keeps all the users and service data secrets. Even though Vault itself makes use of all the best security practices, there is still a possibility that another microservice within the same cluster is exploited, and the attacker then does a lateral movement to the vault in the same cluster. In this case, attacker is now in a position to do command injection in the vault pod and encrypt or delete the sensitive volume mount points. Any binary within the Kubernetes pod has equal access to the volume mount points and thus can cause real trouble. Post-exploit mitigation, that is killing the attacker binary once it has encrypted the content, is of really no use in such scenarios. AccuKnox tooling helps to identify the least permissive security posture of the sensitive workloads and locks it down. For example, in the case of Vault, it automatically identifies that only process /bin vault and a few other binaries need to be allowed execution within the pod. Furthermore, it identifies that only single process /bin vault needs access to the sensitive volume mount points and no other process and locks it down. Thus, the vault is hardened to only allow specific behavior. Inline remediation is typically hard to be achieved since there are only few system primitives that are applicable and can really do the job, and those are difficult to be configured manually. Secondly, identifying what should be allowed and what should not be is a non-trivial task and requires an appropriate framework to handle it on a regular basis. Since applications undergo change, and in case of cloud-based workload, these changes are often too frequent. AccuKnox Solutions provides a full framework to identify and discover the least permissive security posture of the workload using the process, file, and network telemetry data emitting from the workload behavior. Furthermore, the policy enforcement is handled using Linux security modules such as AppArmor, SLNX, and BPF-LSM. LSMs have existed in Linux for a couple of decades, but are typically difficult to be manually configured. KubeArmor simplifies this significantly by using LSMs under the hood and providing simple YAML-based policies for the user. Most importantly, LSMs allow AccuKnox Solution to handle inline remediation and attack surface reduction in the best possible way. Thank you.